want to hit on one other midfielder in specific before we move on. There are some names in the title that we'll mention in a more rapid, quicker section, but it's a name that I since he hit my FB ref test, my very uneducated, just looking at the green bars. It's got Konrad Laimer of RB Leipzig, a pressing monster out in Germany. Is in the 99th percentile for pressures, 33 per match. That absolutely dwarfs everyone at Liverpool. It's about 7 more per match than any player that topped out for Liverpool last year. I'll go dig up the actual stat here in a second. In terms of a guy like Lamer, who last year had a decent bit of goal threat, 4 goals, 4 assists in 26 Bundesliga matches, an insane presser, 25 years of age. He's linked heavily with Bayern Munich because he has a year left in his contract. But it would be the mid-20s in the Euros if you wanted to sign him. Charlie, I mean, is Bayern just also swarming as another shark, the big downside here, or what am I missing on the Lamer side of things?
Yeah, I think he is very much going to Bayern when his contract runs out. I think multiple clubs have tried pushing for him. I think Dortmund as well at one point tried. I think I think Bayern and Leipzig can't find an agreement. He said he'll play for Leipzig. Or he will. Trying to think of the word. He'll fulfill his contract. He won't have any issues with playing at Leipzig another year. But then he wants to join Bayern Munich. Honestly, as well. Look, when was the last time a Bundesliga player came to the Premier League and became one of the best players in the Premier League? I don't know if my mind slipping somebody so obvious. No,
Thiago.
Not having it. No,
Thiago.
Yeah, okay. I'm not counting Thiago because he was a world class player. Look, like
I got one.
And Haaland doesn't count either.
Leroy Sané.
Sané. Ooh, that's a good one. I think he was a bit of a monster up front.
Against those, yeah. But,
but Charlie does have a point. I mean, there's just a few from the Bundesliga players that come here that made it. So, yeah, he does have a point.
Is the Bundesliga tax that great that you're not considering him, though, Charlie?
I think it's something you've got to think about, especially when we've spent, like, he's our third most expensive player or something, Naby Keita, and he's just not the player that we thought we were going to sign. If that's due to how Klopp has coached him, if he's changed how he wanted him to play. But it's not just Liverpool that this happens to either. There's other clubs who sign players from the Bundesliga, and they're just, again, slipping my mind. The worst time to slip my mind. But it's, you look at Spanish league players who come from Spain usually do all right in the Premier League. I feel like they're a lot less hit and miss. There's cases always where players are good and players are bad. But I just feel like in the Bundesliga, it's just so many more. There's so many more players who just aren't as good. So yeah, I'd love Laimer. I think he'd be all right. I'll go back and absolutely contradict everything I've just said, but I think he'd be all right in a Jurgen Klopp team. But won't happen. Ilkay Gundogan, there we go. That's the one who I knew I was missing. Gundogan's a baller. You know what? Yeah, if I could have one player right this second, apart from Kevin De Bruyne, I would have Ilkay Gundogan. I think he's so underrated.
He's a solid player. He's a talented guy. Oluwaples mentioning KDB, he came from Wolfsburg. He was in the Prem a bit, so it's not like he was just dropped into it immediately. Bruno Silva came from Monaco. I think maybe made him a separate discussion that he was having there, but not a Bundesliga player. On that one, the top player for pressures per 90 last season in the Prem was Naby Keita with 24.7. Technically it was Takumi Minamino with 30.5, but he only played 2 90s in the Premier League. So tough one there. A pressing guy like that, Laimer, I'm not sure how much you know about him, Dan, but getting someone like his profile who really is just a pressing monster, for you, kind of, where do you stand on the Laimer situation? Dan?
Dan, when am I? Jack, give your opinion on it.
I'll give my opinion. I think he'd be a great addition. I think that he'd be a very, very interesting Because when I watch Liverpool play, look at how many times that right-sided or left-sided 8 is leading the line as a press. Where just kind of how they're following the ball, the midfielder kind of drops off. You see it so often. I think we lost Dan. He'll be back in a second. So I'm very interested in how that he would look in our system, because he would be, I think, a really solid option for me personally, at least. There we are. Dan, I was just talking about Laimer as a heavily pressing option, as one of those right-sided 8s. Averages over 7 pressures per game, more than any of our midfielders did last season. For him as an option, would he be the kind of guy you're looking for to be one of those more defensively oriented number 8s?
I mean, if you're looking at it from a statistical point of view, he's a perfect type of player that we need. From the times I watched him, he's never done anything bad. He's been great for RB Leipzig, and there's a reason why Bayern Munich are desperately trying to get him. I mean, I don't know. I think Charlie knows the reason why he hasn't moved there yet. I mean, is it valuation or something? But it seems like he was destined for Bayern, and it seems like he's going to be doing great. Someone that is, like I was telling you guys before, that is just not some defensive profile, but has a bit of combination of both. But honestly, if he comes in a package of 2, so him and someone else, I think I will be more than happy, because that's the type of profile that I was telling you guys that we need. We need someone defensive, but also we need someone that can at least add a little bit more attack to the team. So from just the 2-3 times that I've seen him play, I mean, I would say yes. From the fact that Jack has given me all these analysis and stats, I mean, it looks like it's also a green light, but I haven't seen that much of him to say that he's the right player. But as of now, he seems like a good profile. How old is he? Do you guys? How old is Laimer?
I think he is like 26,
25.
25. Yeah, no, mid-age.
It's not even a bad age. He can still improve. He's probably getting into the best years of his career. So it seems like a good fitting player.
Yeah. Really quickly, I'll mention this. He signed a new contract.
Yep.
So that's not happening. I saw a few people mention him, but what Dan said, what Dan was alluding to, why he hasn't joined Bayern, I did mention it before. I think Dan's phone might have died in the Ecuadorian heat, but Bayern want him. They don't want to pay what Leipzig want. Everyone seems to be fine for him to let him run his contract down.